Today's episode is all about stacking the wins. This is not mortgage, real estate, or housing specific. Whether you're a recent college grad or you're a C-level executive, stacking those W's is what life's all about. In today's episode, we're dedicating to Riley Lambert. Keep stacking, Lambo. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children 18 plus. You are tuned in to the Loan Officer Podcast with me, Dustin Owen, and my main man,
JC
John Coleman.
Yo, what's poppin'?
T minus like 6 hours before you and I hop on the flight to Iowa.
Iowa.
Yes.
You excited?
I am excited. Yeah, it'll be my second time going to, I
You
don't
don't
know what
even know
it
what
is.
to call it. It's called the state. Just the flyover.
The state?
It's a state.
Oh, don't call it a flyover state. There's good people that live up in
Is
Iowa.
or are?
Both. Both.
Depending on where you're from.
Yeah.
There's good people up there.
Yeah, there are really good people up there. Yeah, and lots of corn.
Corny.
Yep, and ethanol comes from corn, John. So, yeah, no, I'm
Thank you, Professor Dustin, with that ethanol. All right, and that's today's episode.
And there you go.
Yeah.
And there you go. No, today's episode is actually going to be, I think it's going to be a fun episode because we're kind of leaning into the motivational aspect, the inspirational aspect.
Mm-hmm.
It's, things that make you say, but something lighthearted enough that you can crank it out, put a smile on your face, and then go about your day with potentially a different point of view, a different POV. And that's what we're going to be aiming for.
Okay.
Yeah, and it stemmed from so many different things. One, our team member, Nikki Ray, shared on LinkedIn her personal story about what her and her family have been going through for the past 65 days. And her son is Riley. That's who I shouted out during the intro for today's podcast episode, where Riley's is going through a situation where every day is about stacking the wins. And then I started thinking about the last episode that we did, understanding the new 80-20 rule, my favorite book, Atomic Habits by James Clear, and just things that I have learned and been a part of over the past 5-6 years with you, as well as things that I learned when I did 75 Hard that I learned about myself. And I was like, you know what? These types of messages, these feel-good messages, they're so true, and they need to be shared, and they need to be discussed probably more often than we do them. So it's going to be one of those episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then something else I'm excited about, before you and I go to Cedar Rapids,
Okay.
we started doing something new with the TLOP MLO coaching community.
Okay.
Today is my first office hours. So think back in college, you probably don't know this.
Oh, yeah.
But your professors actually had office hours.
Yeah, you only went there like the day before the quiz that you didn't study for because you were going to fail and you didn't pay attention, so you need all the notes. And you go into the professor's office and say, like, yo, I need you to help me study. He's like, where were you this entire semester? And I say, shut up, give me the notes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And for me, office hours were an awesome opportunity for me to get to know some of my professors. Like, I got to know Dr. Davis, rest in peace, Dr. Davis, but he actually had a black belt in Taekwondo.
No shit.
I got to learn the backstory from Dr. Stansberry, who is my writing for public relations professor, but he had worked for Coca-Cola for like 20 years up in Atlanta. And I actually had a chance to talk to Dr. Morgan about how he dressed and why he dressed. Right? Office hours was a great opportunity. Yes, I could ask for the notes to the quiz coming up, and that I didn't have because I wasn't attending class as frequently as I should, but it was also an opportunity for me to get some one-on-one time. So DO's office hours that we're calling this, it's me spending an hour with the TLOP MLO coaching community where there is no script, there is no agenda, and I want them to come prepared to ask the questions that they need the answers to. And based on this success, I see us doing this every single month and it being one of the standard calls that we provide for our members. It might not always be me. Maybe one of our faculty members would be better off hosting office hours. So we'll see where it goes, but that's also happening today.
Look at you, Dustin.
Yep. And then as I was getting dressed, showered, ready for work, I did my today's Tuesday when we're recording this. I think this drops on a Friday.
Yeah.
So, by the way, if you're listening to this on the day that it drops, Dio's office hours have already come and gone. If you are a member, you can log into the e-learning platform and you can listen, but you won't really have the opportunity to participate. You'll have to look forward to next month when I would do it all over again. But I was getting ready this morning and thinking about Riley, thinking about stacking the wins, thinking about all the things that we're going to talk about today. And it's funny, one of the songs that kind of kept resonating. And most of my life, if you didn't know this about me, I would love to have it with music. Like, I wish there was someone walking behind me with some kind of like turntables and a big speaker, and we could like thematically have music going based on what I was doing, what mood I was in. So I love to incorporate music in most of my big thinking, visionary thought process type moments. And it was tonight we took the L. Last night we took the L, but tonight we bounced back.
Who's that, Bob Dylan?
It's a rap lyric. No, it's a rap lyric from probably 8 or 10 years ago, and I'm sure I just butchered it. But that was the song that was resonating as I was driving into work. Meaning like, look, yesterday may have been a bad day, but meaning we took the L, right? Last night we took the L, but tonight we bounced back. But I'm going to get an opportunity to bounce back. Right, that L was yesterday's L. Today, it's all about the dub. And then I was thinking about, shout out to Cole. Cole runs one of our branches in Texas. And Cole jumped on and did a Monday motivation kickoff call for about 50, 60 loan officers of ours. And Cole used a Michael Jordan quote. And I didn't know this Michael Jordan quote. And it was interesting because Jordan loves to, or is I guess loves to, I don't know if he loves to do this, but he is quoted as basically explaining to people that he has never thought about a decision that he had already made, right? And that's not the exact quote. You probably have to look it up. But the point being is Michael Jordan, when asked about his greatness and his success, it's like, look, once I make a decision, I made the decision. I need to go focus on what's happening now and what's happening 5 minutes or 5 hours or 5 days from now. I can't think about the decision that's already in the past because that's in the past. And then for me, when I was thinking about all of this, I actually have, and this is kind of embarrassing in a weird way, in a good way embarrassing, like make fun of me, ha ha. But I went through this phase where I was getting new clothes, and some of the new clothes I was getting was I was buying them from Tom James, and they were custom making them for me. And the guy's like, hey, you want me to put your name on the inside of your jacket?
Oh, shit. You started doing that?
And I was like, nah, not really my name. Like I don't need my name on the inside of my jacket, and I'm not that guy. I don't knock people who want to do it, but I don't need my monogram.
I do. That's dumb. Okay. Your initials on your cuff. Oh, you're a fuck. Yeah. Don't get me started.
Yep. So I that's not me. I don't need my monogram on my cuffs. But what I did have them put into one of my jackets was no regrets.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, not no regrets, right? It was spelled appropriately. It was no regrets. And for me, and this is my correlation into the Michael Jordan quote about not thinking about a decision once it's already been made. It's I regret none of my mistakes, but I learned from all of my mistakes. And my point was, I'm going to make mistakes, and for me to dwell on them and to regret the mistake, I choose not to. I choose not to regret any mistakes. I choose to look for what I could have learned or how I can improve. But to me, regret's a negative mindset, regret's a negative emotion. And that to me is dwelling on something I can't change. So I have never thought it to be positive or worth my while to regret any decision. Even the decisions that didn't turn out the way that I wanted them to. Even the decisions that I probably should have never made because maybe I was of impaired mindset. There was something to learn. And, so that's, those are 3 things that really stand out to me when I start thinking about mindset in general or being inspired to keep pushing forward. I'm curious, anything resonate with you when we talk about?
Yeah, I actually have something. Do you think people are way softer now than they were like 20 years ago?
Ooh, do I think or do I know? I don't know. Right. I haven't read any statistics.
Right.
My gut tells me yes.
People are soft.
Yeah,
They are softer.
Yes, yeah. But it's interesting because I think that comes with we're also more in touch with our feelings.
All right, that's true.
And we're more willing to talk about our deficiencies, our defects, the things that bother us.
Yeah.
And if you asked me, like, would you prefer people to be hard, yet they don't
hard,
they
hard
don't,
like flexible ish.
yeah, hard, but they don't share their emotions. They don't talk about the things that are bothering them. Then no. I mean, I don't. I wouldn't prefer that. So I guess it's not a negative to me that people are softer, but people are softer, and I do believe there is something about the extremism.
Yeah.
Right. And I definitely don't dig the super soft at all.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing a lot of that.
Powder puffs everywhere.
Especially, with 19-year-olds to 29-year-olds.
Yeah.
That generation right there, those 10 years,
Yeah.
there are some bigger extremes of being soft. Yes.
No.
But why do you ask? Like, what was?
Because I think like topics like this come about more often. Like back in our day, or back in your day, if like shit hit the fan, you just had to kind of figure it out and like stumble in the dark to kind of find your way. But that kind of built you up. There weren't like avenues and like resources like this to kind of talk to you along the way. So it's just interesting to see how people now have resources like this to kind of give the motivation. Where back in my day, it was like if you fell down, it was like get some dirt on your cleats, get up, spit on it.
Yeah.
Keep it going. So.
Yeah. No. There's a certain amount of like suck it up, buttercup.
Yeah.
It's a to quote Jocko, we've talked about this, and y'all should go to YouTube, and when you're done subscribing to TLOP, go ahead and search Jocko good. And it's just it's a way of encouraging people to embrace everything that happens to them, even when things don't work out. Good. Good means because now I have an opportunity to learn. Now I have an opportunity to improve. Now I have a brand new perspective. And I don't know if there's enough of that. There's definitely enough of, well, we have to feel safe.
Oh, God, yeah.
I mean, I overheard a story over the weekend about someone, if their 5-year-old doesn't feel like going to school that day, then this particular mom doesn't make the 5-year-old go to school.
That's like,
because she's so concerned about her mental health moving forward that she doesn't want to press upon her that you have to do anything that you don't want to do. And I'm like, ooh, look, when it comes to parenting, to each is their own. I don't want someone coming into my house telling me how to parent unless I raise my hand and ask for your input. And I'm sure as hell not going to go into your house and tell you how to parent. But you start thinking about the future generations. I'm like, yeah, maybe that's too soft. Because there's a certain part of like, hey, suck it up, buttercup. Or like, as you said, rub some dirt on it. You said rub dirt on your cleats. I don't think you rub dirt on your cleats.
Get your cleats dirty. Get your pants dirty. Or I don't know. You get dirt. I don't know. You get a cut. Put some dirt on it. That's what.
There we go. Like you may pull dirt from your cleats and rub it on the wound or rub it on what hurts.
Soft ass.
Yeah. So I think there's a balance. Like everything in life. Like anything that is too far extreme. There's a reason why we use the adjective extreme. Is not necessarily like a positive one. If someone says, oh, JC, he has an extreme personality.
I do. I love it.
Okay.
I'm one of one, though, in this whole universe. So I'm really like the outlier. What do you call it? The sample? I'm like, I'm the sampler.
Yeah, because it's one of those things when you start talking about, like, I don't know if I want someone to say he has an extreme personality because I'm so caught up and consumed. I shouldn't be, but still caught up and consumed with like what others think about me.
I let that parachute go a long time ago.
Yep, and I think I want to be amicable. I don't want people to be like, oh wow, that guy's polarizing, because I'm driven to an extreme that sometimes that drive turns people off. I'm talkative by nature, so sometimes my talkativeness turns people off.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely a competitor, so sometimes my desire to win is a bit of a turnoff. So then if I heard the word extreme, I don't want to be extreme because I don't want to be viewed, whether I'm on the far left or the far right of anything. I would just prefer not to be extreme.
People are soft and so are their opinions. But I'll ask you this question, Dustin, because it's easier said than done, like, stacking up the wins, and it's easy, to preach about it. But at what point in your career did you really really take hold? Because it's easier to say like, oh, you had a shitty day today, but you'll probably still go home and be pissed about it. But was there a turning point in your career where you were really able to kind of adopt that ideology to where it wasn't like something you're just saying to yourself in the mirror, something that you live by?
Yeah, so I'm going to rewind 20 years. Okay. 20 years ago, it was June of 2004 when I was entering into the mortgage industry. So exactly 20 years ago. And never before had I really given much thought into embracing the suck, enduring, outlasting. Like, I was 24, 25 years old. Just I hadn't lived enough. Right. I hadn't experienced enough to have had that been something that I could pull from. And I was sitting in a training class and someone came in to speak, like a guest speaker, only spoke for like 20 minutes. I can't even remember his name, but that person said, it's going to take you 2 years to become successful. So it's going to take you 2 years to build your business. If you can't give this 2 years, don't do it. Walk out now, quit today. Because it's going to take you 2 years. That was the first time that resonated with me. So I was able to use that as my reason not to quit. Because there was plenty of times my first 2 years in the mortgage industry, I wanted to quit. Right? I had opportunities to go back and sell TV advertising. I had opportunities to go valet cars and I could have made more money. I mean, but whether it was month 7 or month 20, because there was a time period in month 20 I still wanted to quit.
Really?
And I said, I haven't given this 2 years. So it was during that I think I had my first opportunity to really recognize it. And then as I started mentoring other originators or bringing originators into the industry, because that was shared with me and it worked so well, I made sure I always shared it with them. And then my next big epiphany, and it's funny, I have a story I want to share with everybody as it pertains to content creation. And it's more of like a call to action for them. But I went through a personal journey. 2019, I completed 75 hard for the first time. And you and I did a whole entire episode on that. You had met me. Literally, I had just come off of it. Like that was like, you only know skinny D.O. You don't know the heavier version of me. And by the way, the heavier version, like you can tell I'm getting defensive, was a strong version because I used to work out all the time. I just wasn't in the best cardiovascular shape. I was carrying a lot of extra weight. But that experience, it taught me in life, yes, you can. And I still carry that. I mean, that was 5 years ago now. And I still carry the experience of yes, you can. So no matter what it is in life, yes, I can. I don't know how long it's going to take me. It may take me 3 years and it may take me 30 years. But I love my odds if I just refuse to give up and I focus on becoming better. If I surround myself with others that are trying to do whatever it is that I'm trying to do, if I make sure I'm not the smartest person in the room, then I will consistently give myself the opportunity to become successful. I just have to do those 4 things. So 75 Hard taught me, yes, I can become a runner. I was never a runner. I literally would hide from running during high school sports, varsity football, varsity baseball. If there is conditioning at the end of it, unless you force my ass to be there, I promise you I was going to do whatever I could to cut the corners. Yep. I remember going through, I remember like running 5 minutes and not stopping and being proud of that. But I had to exercise every single day, twice a day for 75 days. So what started as jog a minute, walk a minute was jog 4 minutes, walk a minute. Yep. By month 4 of doing this, I went and ran 9.3 miles without stopping. By the way, I couldn't do it by myself. I actually had a partner. Shout out to one of my best friends, Joey Sullivan. Joey ran the race with me, and that was the first time I ran that long without stopping to walk.
I'm up to 6K on the treadmill now. Every time I go on the treadmill, it's 45 minutes. I think I can get up to an hour now.
Wow.
I know.
And you started how long ago?
Shit. It's just like years, though. But I was like on and off. I wasn't like as diligent as you or as determined, but it was like, honestly, when I first started at Waterstone, like literally that far, like probably 2020 is when I got on the treadmill. So about like 4 years. But
when did you get focused?
It's still like, even now, it's still like, I would say 3 years ago, maybe.
Okay.
So, but even before.
So where'd you start?
Honestly, this started like a long time ago, like over a decade ago.
No, I mean, like, where'd you start?
Like running?
Yeah. Like
on the treadmill?
Yeah. Were you 5 minutes? Were you 10
minutes?
10 minutes.
Yeah.
So you started with, I'm going to run 10 minutes without stopping.
Yeah, literally 10 minutes. And then it was like 11 minutes. And then it was like, remember I told you before, then I got up to a sprint. Like I started doing like, put on 10 miles an hour and I'd run a mile. But like I would always cap it at like a mile. And then one day I was like, you know what, let me start just running 5K. 5Ks on the treadmill. And then like when it started, it was like, holy shit, 30 minutes on the treadmill feels like forever. But now like 45 minutes feels like a warm up. So now I'm like thinking like, shit, I might be able to go like an hour and a half on this bitch.
Yeah. So that's stacking the wins.
Yeah, it's literally stacking.
Right. And it's like you and I are using running as an analogy. I mean, I went out and ran 8 miles on Monday, yesterday. So yesterday I ran 8 miles, and look, I didn't wake up until 6:30. By the time I had coffee, played with the dogs, it was like 8:15 by the time I went on a run. Oh, and it was hot AF.
Yeah.
So my run was a terrible run. Terrible. I stopped and walked. I was overheating. I probably ate and drank piss poor the night before, and I didn't properly nutrition in the morning. And I went on this run, and I looked back at it, and I'm like, was that a terrible run? No. Nope. It was just a run, because you know what I couldn't do 2 or 3 or 4 years ago? I couldn't do 8 miles, regardless of stopping or not stopping. Right? Like imagine being in such good shape. And what am I comparing it to? Am I comparing it to a race where I was in prime shape and I nutritioned properly and rested properly and didn't consume massive amounts of alcohol all weekend leading up into the run, and I didn't do it in 92-degree heat, and maybe I did it in 72-degree heat? Like, I have to keep things in perspective. And when I put them in perspective, I was like, hey, how awesome was it? I went out and I exercised for an hour and a half. I did this much distance. I burned this much calories. I kept my heart rate elevated at this amount. And at the end of the day, I'm just trying to stack wins. And this works for you. Not talking about running, but it works for literally everything that we do in life. If we can keep everything in perspective, if we can not regret the mistakes we make, but learn from them, if we can learn to embrace the things that don't go well. As Jordan says, if we can make a decision and not look back, right, that's probably a better place to be. And this was the content creation just thought I had. Okay, so previous episodes, the new 80-20 rule, right? 80% doing it from a marketing sales standpoint, the tried and true. 20% is all about doing the new, things you're not doing today, things that are tech forward, things that are content creation forward, things that are online networking. Okay, let's look at YouTube, and let's look at making YouTube videos for the sole purpose of generating leads, marketing our personal brand, and educating the consumer. Okay, so there's an originator that I recently connected with through friends of friends. We're working on a project together, or entry-level project together. And the project's all about advocating for our industry, right? So this lady's name is Jennifer Beeson, I believe. Beeson, if memory serves me appropriately. She crushes it in the mortgage space, like $200 million a year.
Oh, wow.
She has 80,000 subscribers on her YouTube channel.
Damn.
Yeah, 80,000.
We'll get there one day.
And she started her YouTube channel, I don't know, maybe a couple years before we did. So maybe 2017 is when she started it. And I watched her videos, and they're good, but they're not like, oh my gosh, this must have been produced by Guy Ritchie, right? No, they're just good. They're good YouTube videos. And I'm sure the content's on point, and it's informational, and they're short enough, but there's enough tie downs and takeaways. Like I'm sure it's good. But her $200 million in volume, which, to put that in perspective, I don't know her comp plan. I don't know her personally. My guess is that her personal income is well north of $1 million a year. Just to kind of put that in perspective. So if we're going to talk about stacking the wins, and we're going to talk about getting 1% better, then I want to put it out there. All of us could have our own YouTube channel, right? You and I do, right? But everyone who tunes in, regardless of industry, could have their own YouTube channel. And what if? This is my big what if. What if you were willing to dedicate 2 hours a week to create one 5-minute video, and you did that for an entire year? For an entire year. So you would have, let's say you took 2 weeks off for whatever reason, you would have 50 videos. So if this was June 1st, you could get all the way to May 30th of next year, look back and you have a YouTube channel with 50 videos. And then how about this? What if you started off because you reached out to your friends, your family, your circle of influence, your past clients. You started off with 100 subscribers because that was all the people who know you. They wouldn't subscribe to your channel. And what if you just added, I don't know, let's just call it 100 subscribers. No, let's not even do 100. That's too many. Let's say you added like roughly 40, 50 subscribers a month. Well, in 1 year, all of a sudden you're turning around and you have over 500 subscribers. You have 50 videos and you have 500 subscribers. But this is when things get really good. You decided, I'm going to stick it out for 2 years. It's only 2 hours a week. So for 2 hours a week, I'm going to dedicate 2 years and I'm going to create 1 5-minute video per week. But by year 2, due to this momentum you have, you're adding 10% more subscribers every month. So you started with 500, now it's at 550. Then you add 10% more, 10% more, 10% more. By the end of year 2, you have 1,500 subscribers and you have produced 100 training videos. At some point, guess what you're doing? Now you're lead generating. Guess what you're doing? You now have all of these assets that you can point your prospective clients to for more information. So you're working your butt off to get the lead, however you choose to get it. But then you've created this like spider web that allows those leads to get more of you at their free will when they desire. And you have enough information that they don't need to go outside of your product or your service to get that information. That to me is stacking the wins. That to me is everything that we're trying to teach, preach, and even practice, you and I here at TLOP. I mean, we're 4 years at this. Our goal was the last 2 years. You remember that? They're like, oh, how long are we going to do this for? I'm like, 2 years.
And then 2 more years, and we'll keep it going. Keep
kicking
the can.
I mean, it was one of those things for us. It's like, if we're having fun and people like it, we'll keep doing it. Now, if people don't like it, then we have to figure out the time and resources that we're putting into it, because then we're just doing it to have fun. Or if we quit having fun, we would have to have a heart-to-heart and really have. But we're like, if people continue to enjoy it and we're having fun, and here's what I've learned. You and I are just scratching the surface.
I know. When we blow up, people will be like, wow, you guys came overnight. I was like, did we? Shit. Do you have 5 minutes? Have a seat, young buck.
Exactly. And I think that's most people who are successful.
But I mean, it's because society now, everybody wants to get rich quick, lose weight tomorrow, stab me with these EpiPens so I'll lose 50 pounds. Shout out to that South Park episode I just watched. And that's why, because they want the instant gratification. They're not willing to put in the work. And we always praise success stories, but like the average Joe just gets lost in the malaise because we don't like praise their stories. But there's something to be said about, just showing up every day and just not being average, but just like doing your job, I guess.
Yeah. And that's, plenty of books that I've read, it is all about that. Like, be boring, be predictable, be consistent, and then obviously be persistent. That was one thing I was able to do early on in my career, is I was consistent and persistent. I didn't give up and I kept showing up. So I'd show up, I'd do my job. And if I heard no was an answer, or if I sucked at it, I didn't allow it to get to me. I just said, well, next time I'll try harder. Next time I'll try a different strategy. But I always gave myself that opportunity to be a next time. How about this? Up until 2019, I'm not going to lie, I could count on one hand how many books I read as a adult who was not in school.
Yeah, me too.
Like, less than 5, probably.
I was proud of it too.
And 3 of them probably were the To Kill a Mockingbird series. And then one of them would have been 50 Shades of Grey. Today, I have read so many books that I do not remember them all. In just 5 years, and by the way, so many, that's relative. So many compared to someone who reads 20 a year. No, that person's smoking me.
Yeah.
But so many compared to the first roughly 18 years or 19 years of my professional adult life. Yeah. Because, and let's think about this, stacking the wins and consistency and sticking through and sticking it out. 10 pages a day. If you are a TLOP coaching member, Like you are following the blueprint, and part of the blueprint we have you exercising. It's not just about making sales calls. It's not just about dominating theme days. It's not just about, being online, actively networking. No, it's a holistic approach. Like we should be feeding our brains and feeding our souls with books and with exercise, but 10 pages a day. If you read 10 pages a day, you would read a book a month. Think about that, just 10 pages. It's going to take you 5 to 15 minutes, depending on the book, depending on what type of reader you are, depending on, like some days it takes me forever to read my 10 pages.
Yo, do you still go through like when you read like a whole paragraph and then get to the last sentence and be like, yo, what the hell did I just read and have to read it?
1,000%. Yeah, there's some days that I'm more focused.
Right.
And I can read. There's other days where I may have to read the same page 3 times.
Right? That should be happening to me all the time.
Yes. Okay. And guess what? With more practice, you'll get better.
Right.
With more practice, you'll get better. But 10 pages a day is 12 books a year.
Yeah, that's not.
Fast forward 3 years, and you're at 36 books. Like imagine all of that knowledge that you are keeping from yourself because you're not willing to read 10 pages. And that's what's crazy. Willing to read.
It's not that you can't. Oh, you can't read? Oh, I can't read. Yes, you can.
Yeah, you can read.
Yeah.
You choose not to.
Yeah. I love the thing I've learned the most is like, oh, I don't have time for that. No, bitch, you just didn't make the time for it. I use that all the time, except when it's on me, and then it's not fair.
Yes. But look, that right there is about stacking the wins. Right? You start stacking those wins. You change your mindset to not regret anything, to not dwell on a decision that didn't go the way that you anticipated it to. Like, not every decision is going to be good, by the way. That's impossible. Like, it is impossible for every decision to be good. It's possible for most decisions to be well thought out or to be as thought out as it could be with the time frame that was allowed for that decision to be made. Because not every decision also requires more than 30 seconds. Right? Some decisions require 30 minutes. Some require 30 days. Most decisions, those that are conscious decisions, probably 30 seconds to 3 minutes, make the decision and move on. And if it doesn't pan out, be okay with that and trust that your resourceful ways will find your next solution or your next opportunity. But yeah, we need to make decisions. We need to look forward. People call that looking through the windshield and not looking into the rearview mirror, and crank along. And if you're willing to stick it out, if you're willing to not give up, you'd be amazed at what you can accomplish.
Good for you, Dustin, out there motivating the people.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I'm going to kick things off in Vegas this way, and I can't wait. Like, that's next week.
Shit.
Mastermind Summit is next week. I'm pretty confident I'm going to stand up, and I'm going to do this in Cedar Rapids. And usually when you see me speak, because I'm going to be in Jacksonville in June, then we're going to be in Orlando late July, beginning of August, before we head up to Oklahoma and Arkansas.
Holy shit.
By the way, all of this is found on TLOP's website, so go to TLOP online, and you can see where we're going to be next. If you're ever interested in having me or having John and I come do something for your company or for your organization, or you want to do a webinar, reach out to us. Whether it's me personally through LinkedIn, whether it's one of our team members, we love opportunities to continue to give back. But no, I don't like being a motivational anything. I just don't. I don't like that in general. Like, to me, motivation is, I don't know, pull out your camera. Your camera. Pull out your phone, look at pictures, look at your family. There's motivation, right? Look in your retirement account. There's probably motivation.
Yeah.
Look at last year's W-2. There's probably motivation. So motivation, I think, comes from within. Now, I would like to be a inspiration of change or a change agent. So if I can speak, you and I can do podcast episodes like this, and we can inspire someone to make a change. Okay, I'll take that. I don't know if I'll take motivational speaker. Yeah, if someone feels motivated after listening to this, then a high five. Way to go, John.
Yeah,
Good freaking job.
I don't motivate anybody. You know me. I'm the complete opposite. If you're soft, get out of my way.
Very good. That sounds like a great note to lead this on. Nice and positive.
Yeah. Yes. Positive for me. Positive, like, stay away from me. I'm positive. Yes. Get away. Don't talk to me. But yeah, I'm positive about that.
Perfect. Hey, we appreciate y'all tuning in. If you have not done so already, please slide over to the YouTube channel. We're TLOP on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. tons of additional content on there. It's not just a place for you to watch these podcast episodes. We have just an enormous amount of additional content, and John's adding 2 to 3 new videos every single week.
Shit.
Talk about stacking the W's right there.
Yeah.
If you're a mortgage loan originator, we have a free newsletter. I personally write it. It comes out every Thursday. Make sure you go to tloponline.com. You register for that newsletter. And then if you are looking for coaching and you are a loan officer, a mortgage broker, please know that we do have openings over at the TLOP MLO coaching community. When it comes to value, I'm going to put it out there. There's nothing on the market
Bar none.
that brings better value than what we're bringing to our current members. We'd love to have you come join us and help us invest in your future success. On that note, he's John Coleman. I'm Dustin Owen. That's all the time we have for you today. We do look forward to catching you on the next episode. Peace.